आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. So, as an introduction to enter into a treatise called Bhaja Govindam, we need a bit more information regarding the text and the significance of studying this text given by Adi Shankaracharya. In the last class, I mentioned you the second portion of Vedas are called Vedanta. It's also called Jnana Kanda. In fact, this is the exact human goal. All other three goals are just made into, culminate into this goal. Dharmam, Artham, and Kamam. We say Purusharthas. We can translate into human goals for the sake of understanding. As a human being, to come out of this samsara, the death and the birth cycle, for that, one needs to know the reality about oneself. I am informed by the parents, I am informed by the society, I am informed by the people who are around me that I am a human being who has to live with all kinds of social connections. Which is also called in Sanskrit Apata Jnanam. An information which you take yourself without having an inquiry about what you listened about oneself. Because majority of the people are living according to this information. So I need not to do a special inquiry about this information that I am a human being, I am a male, I am a female, I am this much height, I am this much fair. All this information seems to be true. Because majority of the people are following these informations to identify with oneself. In fact, even in the government, you have to give your identity as a mark in your body or your thumb impression or any other thing. You need to give even for the government as you are alive and you are having this type of marks in this body, and I am this body. This information we take ourselves granted without having an inquiry about this information. I just take into myself to live a life and I follow the majority. And Veda also promote this inferior status about myself, that you are a body, you have certain limitations. In order to fulfill these limitations, we have certain rituals, certain prayers, certain pujas, certain meditations, which will be helpful to fulfill your desires, and you can come out of your limitations. That whole section of Vedas are called Kamya Karmam in the Karma Kanda section. A ritual or a prayer or a meditation you do yourself in order to fulfill your desires. So it seems to be the Shruti Mata, the Vedas, also promoting my insecurity and also my inferior status. And I do a ritual and I get the desirable thing. Because I do the ritual, I have done the ritual properly, as it is told in the Vedas. This is called, I mentioned you in the last class, it's called Artha and also Kama. You get a desirable thing and you enjoy this thing. But there is an issue regarding this, Even after enjoying, your enjoyment will not stop. It goes on and on to another things in your life. As long as senses are active in one's own body, they are ready to enjoy the worldly things, which make certain impression in one's own life. A carbon copy of the things what we enjoyed in our life is kept in our mind, and we call it as an impression. In Sanskrit, it is called vasana. And the temptation will be starting from this copy only, which I have enjoyed and I got this type of experience, so I need to enjoy once more. This type of going again and again will keep more and more, will accumulate more and more impressions in one's mind. These vasanas are the main culprits in order to get another body. And we go again and again through this samsara cycle due to our vasanas and due to our karma phalas. To come out of this samsara, to come out of this birth and death cycle, one need to know the reality of the world, the reality of one's own nature, whether I should go behind the worldly objects in order to fulfill my desires, Because the senses are extroverted, they are designed by the Lord looking outside. So I should keep on going to the external world in order to enjoy all these things. Will become a person who is called samsari, a normal worldly person who go behind his desires and fulfill his desires and just go to sleep, and the next morning another new types of desires will pops up, and also we will go behind that. This is called samsari. Samsari is not a bad word. It's a normal person, samsari. He goes in behind certain desires and he fulfills his desires, and he live a life with his wife and children and his car and building. Nothing wrong on that. The point is, after one departing from this body, there is no real freedom. Again, there is a potential to get a new body and fulfill again the desires according to the respective body. Any body you may get, any body. It can be a pig, it can be a bird, or it can be a tree, according to our own karma palas and our impressions, which we have already accumulated in our sukshma sharira or mind. The only way to come out of this samsara is just one has to know the real nature of the world and happiness and one's own real identity. No other way to come out of this death and birth cycle. It's very important. This human goal, if you don't work on this life, you may miss the bus. After getting a human body and again going behind artha and kama, what we have done in our previous births, the same continues in this birth also. And we may miss the obvious which is in front of us. As a human being, I can study about the nature of myself. That's why the second portion, Jnana Kanta, is, even though very much smaller compared to the first portion, this is the relevant portion of Vedas. Jnana Kanda, a portion talks about one's own real nature. But this is a serious study. It's not very easy for a person who just enter into a Karma Kanda, a Jnana Kanda portion, and to study about one's own nature. It's not very easy. It's just like you don't know how to swim and you are just jumping into the sea. You may get more confused. Jnana Kanda, even though it is something talking about an accomplished thing already you are having in your life, a thing which is already existing with you in your life, still Shrutva abhi na janati. You can listen 1,000 times from Indra, still you may miss the topic. So One need to be ready to listen the topic which is told in the Jnana Kanda, which is the most significant goal as a human being. The more you come to know the value of the thing, the more you will get committed. I am not informed by parents so that I don't have idea about what is Purushartha, Moksha Purushartha. Or I don't know about the Jnana Kanda, which is told, which is presented by the Vedas in the last part. So, this is the time right now. In order to know what is told in the last portion of Vedas, one should be ready. Certain prerequisites are needed in order to listen or focus towards Jnana Kanda or Vedanta. Certain qualifications, certain prerequisites we need. As a samsari, I can listen when a traditional teacher unfolds this knowledge. I can listen, but I may get confused because my own vasanas, my own likes and dislikes, my own pressures will be the hindrances in the path of knowledge. It's not that the language is not clear of this traditional teacher. I cannot understand properly. My mind is roaming. All these things may one say. But the point is one's own pressure on certain objects, one's own commitment towards the worldly things, one's own not readiness are the issues if somebody says, I can't understand Vedanta. So readiness is important in order to know what is told in the last section, which is our essential goal. We call it Moksha Purushartham. Freedom from all kinds of limitations, defects, and bondages right now while living. In single sentence, if I can say, this is the way. While living in this world, I will be free from all kinds of defects which are holding towards my body. I will be free from all kinds of limitations which are being worrying for my last 50 years, which are the total worries, which are always with me with a lot of sufferings. So, while living, one needs to be free from all these things. For listening that supreme knowledge, one needs to be ready. For that, certain qualifications are needed. The first qualification is Vivekam. We know that I already explained about the significance of a human birth, that only human being can understand what is right and wrong. This is called Vivekam, discrimination. I explained more clearly in the last section. One needs to practice Vivekam while studying under a traditional teacher, maybe some are blessed from the family itself, their discrimination will be so much powerful that they will not have the pressure to do what is wrong. This is how we measure the discrimination of the person. Sometimes the family background itself will reward them, the discrimination. Don't kill animals. Don't pollute water. Simple discriminations. This discrimination will become more and more greater and enter into the Vedanta. By the grace of God, a traditional teacher will somehow appear. It's a big topic, but we are just going in a shortcut way to enter into Bhaja Govinda. A traditional teacher will appear in their life due to their proper discrimination in their life, and also certain dispassion, vairagyam. These two values are more important. Other values also there for Vedanta, which we have to work on that, and we have to own it, that values. So Viveka and Vairagya are the most important values in this pursuit of knowledge. I mean, to listen to the knowledge which is unfolded in the last portion of Vedas. I will explain once more into Vairagya, what is Vairagya, and we are going to enter into the text. Vairagya means simply you understand about a thing with a lot of defects. And you give up the thing with a full mind. As I told in the last session, when a doctor gives proper logic and also he make you to understand what will cause when you smoke a cigarette. It will end up in cancer. He makes you understand in a proper way. Now discrimination happens inside a mind. The more one is discriminate, he is ready to give up what is wrong, what he was doing wrong in his life. So cigarette smoking is injurious to health, even though I have read so many times. My doctor helped me to understand completely through a theory. Then now I am ready to give up my smoke. Similarly, a lot of things are there. Just I given an example. Similarly, every worldly thing is filled with the sufferings and pain. But it shows a shining face. Everything seems to be. It will make me happy. It will make you to think like this. Any worldly object, when you identify with oneself, it will make you to think I will be happy by accumulating this object. Really speaking, any worldly object is filled with sufferings. Adhyantavantau kaunteya nateshu ramade buddhaha. One single statement. Yehi samsparshaja bhogaha dukkha yonaya evate. Any object get into contact with the senses, and you already assumed that it is going to make me happy. But really speaking, Lord Krishna gave the shocking truth about a worldly object. Dukkha yonaya, the sources of sufferings and pain. But one need to know systematically about this fact. Unless you know systematically this fact, Vairagyam will not easily, one cannot own Vairagya in one's life. We need to know systematically what is Vairagya. Vairagya itself is classified into four Vairagyas. Somebody have Vairagya just when they get angry. Somebody get Vairagya for 2 months. Somebody's Vairagya is just whenever you see a Guru. Then after that, when Guru disappears, it's just like the tail of dog, Again, you will do the same thing. As long as a person is behind you with a stick, you will have some Vairagya. When they disappear, you are the same person, previous what you are. So, Vairagya itself have different states or different level. We are talking about the real Vairagya. Vairagya means certain indifference towards the world and things. You cannot go keeping 2 legs in 2 different boats. You want to enjoy the world and you want to get Vairagya. You will end up in tragedy. So, Vairagya is the central subject or central theme of Bhaja Govinda. Making one realizing the worldly things which we are more attracted are just sources of sufferings. He just wants to point out Adi Shankara. That is the central theme of Bhaja Govinda, a value which is essential in the pursuit of knowledge. Without Vairagya, one cannot keep one step forward in the pursuit of knowledge. The more Vairagya you are having, the more the knowledge will stick on your mind. So Vairagya is the central theme of Bhaja Govindam, the text which we are going to study, which is a most essential value in the Vedanta pursuit. Vedanta is the only solution in order to come out of the death and birth cycle. Don't forget that. In order to enter into Vedanta, one should get qualified with certain values, and one of the values is Vairagyam, dispassion towards the external world. We are keeping them in our mind as our sources of happiness, all these worldly things which are going to introduced by Adi Shankara in the Bhajagovindam. So this is the subject matter, Vishayam. And Adhikari, we already told. What is the Adhikari? Who is the Adhikari? One who wants to come out of the death and birth cycle is called, is the Adhikari. One has to practice Vairagya and own it. A person who really wants to come out of the pain and sufferings right now, what he is having in his life. Freedom, he is a seeker of freedom also. He is the Adhikari. The Prayojanam is one will be ready to listen or focus on Vedanta. The more one has Vairagya, the more the person will be free with the mind and it can easily absorb the knowledge which is told in the Vedanta portion. The more Vairagya one having. Sambandha, it's always Bodhya Bodhakam. You have to realize and you make it clear with oneself what I have realized. Somebody will inform you, you have to do, because these are the pitfalls in the worldly life. Realizing this, one need to practice if they want to really come out of that. Or one can be like a buffalo, always entering to the slush and happily sitting for hours and hours with all kinds of itchings and insect biting. So Vairagya being the topic of Bhajagovindam, which will make one qualified to listen the Vedanta. This Vairagya is presented from different angles of our worldly life in Bhajagovindam. From the different perspective visions. From the worldly vision, from the wealth, from the household life. One need to know what are the things one will have in the life. An insight is given through each and every sloka. Bhajagovindam is a treatise, Prakarana Grantham. What is meant by Prakarana Grantham? Prakaranam means a person after studying Vedanta and he has complete understanding about the Vedanta and he wants to write certain things regarding Vedanta and he is free to write and he writes certain things regarding Vedanta. And it has an author because he has written and in his name this Grantha will be known. That's called Prakaranam. Vedas are not written by anybody. From the immemorial past onwards, it's existing. But Prakarana Grantham is always having an author. The vision is presented according to his understanding, is called Prakarana Grantham. Whatever vision he got, he wants to present in his own words. And he is the author of that book. That's called Prakarana Grantham. So Bhaja Govindam is a poetry or a Prakarana Grantham which talks about a prerequisite called dispassion or Vedanta. From the different angles of worldly life, the slogans are presented, each and every verse. More I can say, in which are the things in a human being got attracted, those things are presented, and the fallacies of those things also presented by Bhaja Govinda. By understanding the fallacies of those things, one may retrieve, one may give up that pursuit. Manushyanam sahasreshu, very few people may give up that worldly pursuit. Kaschid dhiraha pratyak atmanam aikshat. It's not very easy from the paranchikhani senses which are extroverted to come out of that. It's not very easy. And our impressions also very strong. That's why Bhaja Govindam, the text is more important in every era. Whether it is in 1900 or 1800 or in 2021, it has the same importance. Those who want to practice Vairagyam, this text will give some insight for that person. The truth is always bitter. There is no nicely presenting of a truth. The truth will be always presented directly because it's meant for the people who are ready to give up what is not meant for them. So don't think that Bhaja Govindam, when it says openly certain things, if we are somehow practicing or doing in our life, it seems to be bitter. Why Bhaja Govindam Adi Shankara has presented these things in a rude manner? Don't think like that. There is no nicely presenting of a truth. It's not a plum cake decorated by berries and other things. This is talking about the truth. Truth can only present in this way. So, Bhaja Govindam is a Prakarana Grantham written by Adi Shankaracharya. Adi Shankaracharya is a traditional guru who has given a lot of commentaries on Vedanta, as we know. And he has written a lot of Prakarana Granthas, and this is one of the Prakarana Grantha. So, Bhaja Govindam word comes from the first shlokan. The text starts with a slogan, and the first word of that slogan is Bhaja Govindam. This text has also another name, Moha Mudgaram. The same Bhaja Govindam is also called in another name called Moha Mudgaram. Mudgaram, the rice pounding stick, we call in Tamil Ulakkai, which we use to pound the rice to remove the husks in a manual way. That's called Mudgaram. Moha means delusion, desires born out of ignorance is called moha. That which beat upon the mohas or the desires born out of ignorance or the delusion, that which beat and remove the ignorance. This text has that capacity to remove one's own delusion. So this text is also called Moha Mudgaram. Now, how this text happened, a brief story is also presented in the tradition. How this Bhajagovindam text born from Adi Shankara's words. It's also presented by the traditional teachers, a brief story. Jagat Guru Adi Shankara used to live in Varanasi or Kashi while living to write certain commentaries on Upanishads or some other things he has, whatever works he wants to do on Vedanta. He used to stay in Varanasi and do his works on that time. Daily he used to go to the bath in Ganges and take water in his kamantalu, in his balti, and bring that Ganga Jalam, that Ganga water, and pour Abhisheka to the Lord Shiva of Kashi Vishwanatha. And Kashi is a big city. Even the temple is surrounded by lots and lots of small pedestrian ways. These pedestrian paths are even now packed with the cows, vendors, rickshaws, manually pulled rickshaws. Lots and lots of people are living, and their doorsteps also comes to this pedestrian path. Lot of pedestrian paths are there around this Kashi temple. So you know each and everything going on each and every houses. What is going on in each and every houses, you know. I was been there for certain things in Kashi, and I have studied with an acharya for a few days or 1 or 2 months. And he used to take the class while his cow is near to him, because Kashi, every house will have a cow also. They keep the cow and they keep the chair near to the cow, and they are very much habited to eat the gutka, pan, vettalai. Paaka போட்டு அப்படியே they take this leaf and bitter leaves and this areca nuts and some masala. Each and every hour they will be always with that. So when you are having, and they are pandits also, my God, very much capacity to store all the philosophical text also. Some are in Vidwans in certain Pragaranas, you know. So for some certain Tarka text studying, I went there and I have certain classes with that person. So he will be always like this. And he take the text and all the things will be in my book and my face sometimes, you know. I cannot say anything because it's my need to study under him. I have to be in with him, and he will give a time, this time to this time. We have to be there. The teaching is so clear and perfect. All other limitations I can give up. So I don't go with my text. First 2 days, I got upset with my text as having small red spots of fun. And also my dhoti, my face, But they are Vidwan, they are committed. They will have household life. Wife is there, children are there, some cows are there, cow dung is there. Cattle shed is right in front of the house. Everything is there, fine. They will take the classes properly. They don't have a majestic classroom, but they have one chair and one asanam. You stay there, sit there, and you can study, and they will make you to know, and they will be proper. The whole blessed thing is by heart, and they will give the right slogan. Yesterday, where we stopped, from there today, they will start without any kind of a reminder by me. What a beautiful way of teaching. Just I enjoy that teaching apart from the pan and the cow dung. So Kashi, one need to see in one's life. This temple itself is surrounded by a lot of small pedestrian paths. And all these pedestrian paths are just having the name for pedestrian. It's filled with the cows. They will be resting. One thing I didn't tell you, one of the biggest threat of Varanasi and Kashi, the monkeys. They roam freely. They are the goons of Varanasi. They will hold and snatch anything if they feel that it's an eatable in your hand. There is no escape. There is no chance. They will team up. Maybe 15, 16 all together around you. There is no way of escape in Kashi. Once the monkey got a threat from you, that's all. They will chase you. So Varanasi, Varanam and Asi, both rivers, and in between there is a beautiful city, which is a legendary city in the history of Indian culture and tradition. Kash, to shine due to the knowledge of different knowledges or the knowledge of moksha, Kashi. Varanam and Asi are two rivers. So a land between two rivers become Varanasi. So through this pedestrian way, our Shankara was holding the Ganga water and walking towards the Kashi Vishwanatha temple. And suddenly he listened, somebody is studying grammar. One of the most essential thing in Vedanta. And he just peeped, who is studying this Vedanta, is grammar. He saw almost a 70 to 80 years old man. And he is uttering a particular word, Dukrinya Karane, Dukrinya Karane, Dukrinya Karane, Dukrinya Karane. Kru Dhatu will represent the action in order to do action. Kru Karane, Dukrinya Karane, Dukrinya Karane. So he is by hearting the whole Dhatu Patha. And Shankara saw that at the age of 70 or 72, this person is even now studying grammar. It's time to study, or it's time to pray in front of the Lord each and every second, because death is always like a shadow with us. It's always there with us. On that time, at the age of 70 or 72, a person is studying which is irrelevant for that age. Sanskrit grammar is not irrelevant. I don't make that type of statement, okay? On that age, Sanskrit grammar is, irrelevant. So Shankara saw that this person is studying some Sanskrit grammar. And he was supposed to focus on Lord's name or in the path of knowledge, because already the life is in the time of sunset. It's time to call upon Ishvara, the Lord. On that time, this person is studying certain grammar of Sanskrit. Shankara want to inform this person that at this age, the grammar studying is irrelevant. On that time, you need to focus on Lord's name or in the dispassion towards the world, or you have to focus on the knowledge told in the last portion of Vedas. He wants to make the person to understand now grammar is not needed at this age. At this age, please, you focus on certain other things which is relevant in your life. This incident is the cause of getting this blessed treatise called Bhaja Govindam. And the word Bhaja Govindam is got from the, I told you already, got from the first slogan. The first slogan starts with this particular word. Some acharyas, traditional teachers, says that this incident may be happened to the disciples of Adi Shankara. And Shankara may given some insight of in the age, in the last age, when somebody is weakened with the senses and with the body, you cannot choose to study grammar on that time. So he want to give to the disciple maybe. So there is no role for the story for a Vedantic person. The moral, the essence of the story, that story we will keep apart. From that story, Adi Shankara written this treatise. Seeing somebody who is uttering the word Dukrinya Karane at the age of 70 or between 17 and 80, an old person, he wants to give certain clarity about the goal and the irrelevance of the grammar at this age. Thus, Shankara written this poetry or Prakaranam, which is something very important even now at this age, at this modern dramatic world, to come out of all kinds of our miseries. This text will help us. I will chant the first mantra or the first verse, and we will get into the meaning in the next class. Bhaj Govindam, Bhaj Govindam, Govindam Bhaj Mutamate, Samprapte sannihite kale nahi rakshati dukrinkarane. Once more I will chant. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mugamate, Samprapte Sannihite Kale, Nahi Rakshati Dukrinkarane. This is the first verse of Bhaja Govindam. We are going to see the proper meaning of this verse in the next class. We will stop now. Almost it is time, and I will go to temple also. Om Purnamata Purnamitam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Vinayama,
Hari Om.
over to you. Can I go?
Yes. Oh, you're in a hurry to go. Okay.
I will see you afterwards. Okay. If there is anything relevant, you please write. Om Namah Shivaya. Thank you, everybody. See you in the next class. Okay.
Thank you,
Happy to-
Swamiji.